Meet Jim Nugent. Jim is a Leelanau County cherry farmer and the recently retired coordinator for MSU's Northwest Horticulture Research Center. After watching some of the year's cherry harvest, we sat down to talk with Jim about the cherry industry and some of the changes he's seen over his long career.
There's a logical reason why Michigan grows as much fruit as it does, because we need the moderating influence of the lake. We need to have it not get too cold in the winter. We need to have the springs kind of delayed as much as we can to try to slow bud development. And then we need to have those nighttime cold temperatures on frosty mornings in spring when the buds get susceptible. We want the lake effect to keep those temperatures warmer for us. And then of course, we need to have these rolling hills and sandy soils. That all goes into the reason the fruit industry is here as well. We have seen a shift in the climate. I mean, it's not like every year it's getting warmer earlier. It's just that in general, our winters are getting milder, and quite significantly milder when we look at the data on, say, ice accumulation in West Grand Traverse Bay. We've got data on that going back to 1851, so beautiful data set there, and it shows a very significant warming in the winter as less and less ice forms. The ice actually is a great insulator around this county to keep our bud development delayed in the spring as that ice is melting. But it's also an indication of the accumulation of cold during the winter. And then in spring, well, again, we've always had warm spells. We tend to be getting a warm-up that is less gradual than it used to be. We tend to be seeing periods where it gets exceptionally warm early. And then if we get enough of that, we can advance the buds to the point where the fruit is susceptible to cold injury. In 2002, we actually had what was a virtual crop failure. This region had been averaging 145 million pounds of tart cherries the previous 5 years, and in 2002, we produced 1 million. We thought, well, that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And then in 2012, lo and behold, we had a very similar event. And that one we were advanced even earlier. April then came in with a very typical April. It wasn't exceptionally cold, but our buds were susceptible to cold damage at much warmer temperatures than would be normal for April. And so once again, we lost virtually the whole crop. The other thing we've tended to see as we've advanced the timing for bloom, it seems like we've run into a little bit more problems with pollination, because when that bloom occurs earlier, again, our probability is still for some colder temperatures. And if we've got to have two things really to set a good crop. We need to get them through without cold injury through winter and spring, but especially in spring for cherries. And we need to have good pollination weather, because the bees have to do their thing, that pollen has to get transferred. And so we've got to have warm enough conditions for bee flight. Well, with any fruit, we're selling quality. And a hailstorm is just, it's like a farmer's worst nightmare. It can be really, really devastating. And are we going to be seeing more of that? I'm not sure. It's possible we will as summer temperatures get warmer. It is getting more challenging. We're seeing more farmers investing in wind machines, which is a way to help raise those temperatures on a cool, calm night. We've got a breeder at MSU working on a tart cherry variety that might have better ability to withstand the temperature. The other thing that we have is we do now have crop insurance for tart cherries. It's another way to help mitigate risk. For the next generation of farmers to come in, they're going to take on debt to get into agriculture. I mean, that's just the reality of farming. If you're going to have a sustainable industry, it's got to be economically viable enough to bring in young people, because they're the ones that are going to be farming it in the next generation. So, yeah, I think there's a lot at stake, but I'm still optimistic that this area is going to be growing fruit. Our varieties might be a little bit different, but we still do have that lake out there, and it is still a very significant influence on our climate.